In today's team selection video, we're going to take a look at what I'm going to do with Bukayo Saka and how am I going to use my one free transfer with 1 million in the bank. Let's take a look at how I might line up ahead of that Game Week 8 deadline. We did it, we survived another international break. Thank God club football is back. I was getting so bored without FPL, to be honest, but we are back for Game Week 8, and this is how my defence and goalkeepers line up. So, starting in goal, of course, we have David Raya with that Bournemouth away fixture, and of course, just in front of him there, you will see Gabriel with that double up on the Arsenal defence. Of course, Bournemouth away, I suppose when we consider that fixture in terms of clean sheet potential, it is pretty high just because it's Arsenal, okay? Arsenal are pretty much the best defence in the league among Liverpool and I would say City, but they're conceding a lot of goals lately, and the way they conceded against Fulham last week was really, really disappointing, especially that second goal coming in. So for me, Arsenal clean sheet has great potential this game week, but Bournemouth do attack well. Of course, I own Semenyo currently, great going forward, direct, and you could say that about a lot of the Bournemouth attackers. They're very, very, very good on the counter. So perhaps that could hurt Arsenal, but I'm going to have faith in my boys this week, start both of them, that double Arsenal defence, and hope for that clean sheet. And if not, maybe save points from Raya, a goal from Gabriel. That would save the week, but yeah, for me, double Arsenal defence, I am pretty pleased with it. Trent against Chelsea at home. Look, this week for Trent, for me, is sort of an evaluation week, maybe his last evaluation week. It could be the case that next week he is included in a double transfer out to get Cole Palmer back into the side. A lot of people rate Trent so highly as a FPL defender, and as do I. That's why I do own him. But I feel as though the money could be spent elsewhere with the fixtures Trent has coming up. They're not the best fixtures, and I suppose he isn't getting attack and returns, week in, week out. So could I move to a cheaper player with better fixtures and then just see how we get on? Maybe I even do a Trent to Canate move, something, a bit cheaper but lets me stay in that Liverpool defence. But yeah, this week for me is very much an evaluation week for Trent. How are we going to move forward with him as an asset? Rico Lewis with that Wolves at home fixture. If you watched yesterday's video, you'll know that Manchester City have the best odds for a clean sheet this week, and they also have the best odds in terms of goals scored this week as well against a Wolves side which looks very, very leaky, but they do have the ability to go forwards. Rico Lewis, will he start? Will he not start? It's a question that we kind of bring up every single week, and I say the same thing. I'm just going to treat him like he starts every single week. It saves me a headache of waiting for leaks and worrying about if he starts. He's playing amazing under Pep. He can play many, many different positions, and when Kyle Walker does come on the pitch, it's very, very rare that Rico Lewis goes off at that point in the game. So you can see Kyle Walker and Rico Lewis playing in the same side, and it does work. Rico Lewis is a fantastic, fantastic footballer. Of course, if you're planning to bring in a Man City defender, would I recommend Rico Lewis? Maybe not, because of the simple fact that it is a little bit of a problem whether he's going to start or not. But like I say, I'm just going to pretend he is and hope it's okay. So yeah, on the bench, so we'll just quickly cover them. Robinson, Aston Villa at home. Nedeljkovic doesn't play for Villa at all really now, which isn't a problem because he's just a cheap enabler on the bench. But Robinson has got some good fixtures here and there coming up, so a good little bit of bench rotation with Robinson there. But let's move up now to the midfielders. Moving on up now to the midfield, we'll discuss Bukayo Saka straight away because he's going to be the highest ownership player you see in the midfield here, and he's got the flag on. As far as I'm aware, the latest bit of information I can give you about Saka is the Lee Carsley quote that I shared with you guys yesterday and in previous videos this game week. He thinks he'll be fine. He sent him home because, look, he didn't want to risk him. He thought it was unfair, which I totally agree with. Lee Carsley there, you don't want to risk a player like that, in a game that, in all honesty, really doesn't matter. But I'll be starting him. I think he'll be fine. He plays an unbelievable amount of minutes for Arsenal, and I don't think that'll change this game week, if I'm being really honest with you. Maybe later in the week, perhaps on Friday, we get some press conference news, some training photos of Bukayo Saka. But at the moment, we're kind of not got much more than that Lee Carsley quote, which is positive in itself, the quote, but is it positive that's the only thing in bit of information we have? Not particularly. So I am just waiting on the transfer just in case, because again, we just never know in these situations. There's a lot of information kept from us as just casual FPL managers. There's a lot of backroom staff who consider other factors when it comes to player injury. So yeah, we're going to wait and see with Bukayo Saka. Just next to him, though, we have Morgan Rogers with the Fulham away fixture. I do think that's a good fixture for Villa. Morgan Rogers, he looks such a good player. He passes the eye test every single week. Villa fans absolutely love him. Let's see if he gets an attacker return this week. Of course, he's such a cheap player. We can't tell what week's going to be good for him, what week's going to be bad for him. All I know is he's getting good minutes, and I think he's a fantastic footballer. So, yeah, he's definitely in the side. Brennan Johnson in the middle. I brought him in last week. Eze left the squad. Johnson came in. Was a great transfer. Brennan Johnson did score that goal in that fixture, and they're playing West Ham at home this game week. According to the goal scoring odds for this week, I believe Spurs are in second place, just behind Man City for their goals that are expected to be scored in that match. So perhaps that's a good sign for Spurs. Again, Spurs defensively aren't great. That's why there's no Spurs defenders in my team. But Brennan Johnson is on fire, and he is definitely a big part of my team now going forward into future weeks. Semenyo just next to him. He is the player that could be leaving my squad. If you've watched other videos this week, you'll understand that it's more than likely that I bring in Dwight McNeil this week. Semenyo going out, McNeil in. It gives me a player that has great fixtures over a long period of game weeks. Sorry, my nose is itchy. And it also lets me get the funds possibly in game week 9 to transfer out Bukayo Saka for Cole Palmer coming in, because I just about have the correct amount of money if I was to make that transfer. If Cole Palmer or Dwight McNeil goes up by 0.1 million each, I will not be able to make that move, and I will kind of show you in future weeks of how I will make that move. It's more than likely that the double move of Trent out and Bukayo Saka out makes the room to bring in Cole Palmer. But lastly, all the way on that other side there, Mbeumo with the Manchester United away fixture. Manchester United, I mean, I don't know necessarily what to say about them at the moment. Are they a good fixture to face? Are they a bad fixture to face? I would say good, but then we've just seen Villa struggle to score against them. But was that just Villa being Villa and not really putting their big chances away that they have done the majority of the season? Perhaps so. Last week we've seen another early goal from Brentford, so perhaps, I mean, I'm saying this every bloody week now, perhaps we see another early goal from Brentford. I mean, if they do it again, God knows, but yeah, that midfield looks great to me. Of course, if the flag wasn't necessarily on Saka there, and we kind of had a little bit more information about him, I'd feel a lot better about the midfield. But for now, it's kind of just staying that as it is. It's more than likely I'll make the transfer on the deadline stream that I'll do on Saturday morning, or I'll make an early move kind of Friday night based on information we get on Friday. But we will just wait and see on that one. But let's take a look now at the forwards of the squad. Surprise, surprise, Erling Haaland is my captain this week, and alongside him is Ollie Watkins of Aston Villa. We'll first talk about Ollie Watkins, though, with that Fulham away fixture, similar to what I mentioned about Morgan Rogers there. He's playing great. He's not necessarily putting away these big chances, which is a real issue. But while he's got good fixtures and while Morgan Rogers got good fixtures, I'm not really going to be moving them on. I don't think it's necessarily the greatest idea to be moving players when they've got good fixtures like Fulham away. So we'll have to wait and see how Villa do. If it's the case that Villa aren't really great this week again, it could be the case that, Watkins and possibly Morgan Rogers leave the side next week. But for now, I do think I'm going to be keeping a hold of Watkins. Haaland, on the other hand, we've got him captain. He's blanked the last 2 weeks I've captained him. I think this is probably a very, very good week for Haaland captainers. It was suggested on Fantasy Football Hub that Salah was the best captaincy option this week and was predicted to get 8.3 points, whereas Haaland was only predicted to get 8 points. For me, I think Haaland's going to outscore Salah this week. I don't think Salah's got the better fixture, and I think Chelsea will put up a fight at Anfield against Liverpool. So for me, Haaland is the best captain this game week, even it being an away fixture. I do think it's a great fixture. So really looking forward, hopefully, to some bloody points from Haaland after 2 weeks of blanks. And of course, you can see Stewart on the bench there. He actually could be injured as well, but as we know, he's not going to be playing in my side. But overall, as a team, it is pretty strong in my opinion. Of course, you've got some weak points in the side there. If I would change players here, just off the top of my head, Semenyo, for me, should be gone this week anyway because he's coming into bad fixtures at the moment. Bukayo Saka, if it is the case he has an injury problem, he is on the hit list, but I think he should be okay. And Watkins, I think, could be on the chopping block if he doesn't perform this game week, and Villa look a little bit lacklustre yet again. But for me, Semenyo is the transfer out this week. Dwight McNeil of Everton is probably my most likely transfer currently. That could definitely change at any point if we get some Saka information. It could be the case that Saka then moves on. But this is how we're going to line up for Game Week 8. To outro every single video, I like to give you guys at home a big thank you for supporting the FPL Mugs YouTube channel. Of course, if you have enjoyed today's video and you aren't yet subscribed, please do consider it for weekly FPL content and deadline streams. But that is absolutely everything for today's video. Thank you so much again for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.